Today, we are going to take a look at greatest common factors and least common multiples. First, our vocabulary. What are common factors? Common factors are factors shared by two or more numbers. Common factors are factors shared by two or more numbers. The next vocabulary word is the greatest common factor. Sometimes it's referred to as the GCF. The greatest common factor is the greatest of the common factors listed. The greatest common factor is the greatest of the common factors. The next vocabulary word is common multiple. A common multiple is when multiples are shared by two or more numbers. A common multiple are multiples shared by two or more numbers. Our last vocabulary word is least common multiple. A least common multiple, otherwise referred to as the LCM, is the least of the common multiples. Again, the least common multiple is the least of the common multiples. Next, we're going to take a look at some examples to find the greatest common factor, or the GCF. Example A has two numbers, 36 and 48. For the first method, I am going to make a list of all the factors of each number. So to start for 36, I'm going to begin with 1. I know that 1 times 36 is 36, so I can put them at opposite ends of my list. 36 is divisible by 2 because 36 is an even number. 36 divided by 2 is 18, so another factor is 18. 36 is also divisible by 3. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice, so another factor is 12. Another factor of 36 is 4, and 4 times 9 is 36. My last factor is 6, and 6 doesn't match up necessarily with another factor because 6 times 6 is 36. So again, I can multiply the first and the last factor, and that product is 36. And I can continue to do that, starting with the front and then going to the end of the list, and those numbers multiplied together will give me a product of 36. I'm going to do the next with 48. The factors of 48 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, and 48. And again, I can do the same thing by pairing them up. 1 times 48 is 48. 2 times 24 is 48. 3 times 16 is 48. 4 times 12 is 48. And 6 times 8 is 48. Now, to find the greatest common factor, I'm going to compare the two lists, and I'm going to look for the largest common factor. In this case, the greatest common factor for both of the numbers is 12. So the greatest common factor of 36 and 48 is 12. In my next example, using the numbers 16 and 56, I'm going to use a T-chart, which is another method you can use. In the T-chart, I'm still going to list the factors of each number. I will begin with 16. In the T-chart, I'm going to start with the factor of 1 on the left, and then ask myself, what can I multiply 1 by to get 16? That would be 16. I'm going to keep going in consecutive orders on the numbers. 2 times 8 is 16, and 4 times 4 is also 16. And so I have all my factors listed. Notice I'm going up in value in the left column, and I'm going down in value on the left column. For 56, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with 1, which is the smallest factor. 1 is a factor of all numbers. So 1 times 56 is 56. I know that 56 is an even number because the last digit, 6, is an even number. So 2 times 28 is 56. 3 cannot go into 56, but 4 can. 56 divided by 4 is 14. So 4 times 14 is 56. And the last two factors would be 7 and 8, because 7 times 8 is 56. Again, I need to compare the factors for both values, and you can see that the greatest factor they have in common is 8. So the greatest common factor of these two values is 8. Next, we are going to take a look at finding the least common multiple. So we're not doing factors any longer, we are doing the least common multiple. For the least common multiple, I'm going to write the multiples of each number. In other words, it's repeated addition. The first multiple of 8 is always itself. So for any value, the first multiple is the given number itself. Then I'm really doing my multiplication facts. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. So I'm going to just list 3 to 4 multiples first because I may not need to go any farther. I'm going to do the same thing with 12. 12 is the first multiple of itself. So 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. I can stop my list because I can tell that the smallest number they have in common is 24. So the least common multiple for 8 and 12 is 24. My next example is 4 and 5. I am going to do the same thing with my list. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. I'm going to stop with the multiples of 4 and now go on to 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. And again, I can see that the smallest number they have in common is 20. So the least common multiple of 4 and 5 is 20. In our last example, we are going to take a look at 3 values, 2, 5, and 8. But I'm going to do the same thing as I did for A and B. So let's start with 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And for this, since we're counting by 2s, you probably can just count by 2s. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. We'll stop and see if we need to go any further. We can always come back. So now I'm going to go to 5. And again, I'll just count by 5s for this one. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I'll stop right now. I can see that 2 and 5 have the least common multiple so far is 10, but 8 also has to be common multiple. So we'll go to 8 and then see if we have to go on here. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. So I'm already up to 40, and I do not have a common multiple, so I'm going to keep going with 2 and 5. So I'm going to go 22, 24, 26, and you might actually be able to see here with the 2's, I can go 28, 30, 32. So now 8 and 2 have 32 in common, but I'm not quite there with 5, so I'll continue going. 35, 40. Okay, so I can see I have a 30 with the 2 and the 5, but right now the smallest multiple that matches with 5 and 8 is 40. So it looks like I'm going to have to go all the way up to 40 for 2. 34, 36, sorry I'm running out of room here, 38, and 40. So you can see that for 2, 5, and 8, the least common multiple is 40. And not all numbers will you have to go up that high. It just depends by the values you are